Who Did It Do? A show that would answer just that question. Who did it do? This show is a platform for stylists who created celebrated looks on celebrities. I'm your host, Khadija, here in the city of brotherly love, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, where we're going to catch up with the talented barber, Kenny Duncan, and see what great things he's doing right now here in the industry.
How I've evolved has been, looking at individuals such as Jocelyn Monaco, looking at individuals such as Shawn Michaels. These are individuals that I can personally call on the phone, and we've had conversations about hair. Individuals such as Ivan Zoot, individuals such as Curtis Smith, Eric Cheek. I mean, the list goes on and on about how I've learned different things from many different people, and how it's actually been beneficial has been showing itself up, especially when I worked with major tours. Because what happens is I may be called in by one or two people that know what I can do, but now I have to show myself as credible to somebody who doesn't know anything about me, because they're disconnected from the beauty and barber industry. They're disconnected from my personal social media influence, so they have no clue who I am and what I can do. And now I have to live up to the reputation that other people are sharing about me versus them already knowing.
Now, you spoke a lot about evolving and how you evolved from a barber, and now you make it to you more use the title of a stylist. Now, in my humble opinion, the barbering industry has totally evolved. It's like one thing about being a barber, or you say stylist, you can't fake it to make it. I joke about it sometimes, saying you can get a good piece of weave and put it on somebody's hair and you can make it look amazing. But one thing about being a barber, you have to know how to cut. You have to know how to blend. So can you just share with us, how do you see the industry now from when you first started out, and to see how it has evolved, because it definitely has, till now?
I disagree with you with the statement that people can't fake it till they make it in barbering.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Please elaborate on that.
McDonald's, when they put on TV the images of the Big Mac, and when you go into the store, it never looks the same.
Okay.
That's happening in a barber. There are individuals that are editing images. There are individuals that will oversaturate and use a lot of enhancements to make a haircut look different than what it really should, or what it really will in person. So there's individuals just through social media alone that have built the reputation and expectation from the community of what they can produce and what they will produce. But then when a client comes in, they end up seeing something different. So there's ways that people can actually make money by attracting people.
But they can't. They won't have longevity.
There you go.
Then they won't have the longevity.
I do believe
you can fake it to get them in, but it comes to a point that I see after a while they're going to see that you can't produce what you're soliciting.
Yes, I believe that's happening, and I believe that's a large portion of why I'm still here. I truly believe that one. The reason why I say that one is because there are many different individuals that will vouch for my professionalism. They will vouch for the quality of skill set that I've developed and what I can produce. Even though that I don't do a perfect haircut every single time. And what I mean by perfect haircut, perfect based off of what images have been photoshopped and enhanced that people have known to become a better version of what should be produced. But the reality is that the average individual, when they get a haircut, doesn't look like what's become popular through a lot of repost pages, what's become popular amongst a lot of individuals who set the standard of this is how we want to present our product. I could say that one as to be true. I've even heard this being a language to me before, from somebody getting a haircut from a very popular barber who's done what I've said. They said the haircut looked amazing until it blew away.
Okay, understood. A lot of enhancements are happening.
Yes.
Now
I'm not one that says that I will not use those things.
Right.
I've learned when, where, and how to use those things. When working on movie sets, I've learned that a lot of these things are done to be used in a fashion of creating a character,
Gotcha.
not necessarily to just create a standard look. What I mean by creating a character within productions, the whole idea is that you have an actor playing a role,
Right.
and you have to create a look for that character to help them be equipped to play that role.
Right.
So sometimes it includes changing their look.
Right.
Sometimes it includes using some other hair or other enhancements to actually create a look.
Okay, well, that's it's good that you hit on that, because enhancements have transferred from theater. That's how the lace fronts. Lace fronts originally were for theatrical. It was used for movies, but now it's transcending to the everyday working girl.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on that man weave? The man weave. Like, men are suffering from alopecia areata. At very young age, like at 20 and 30, they're losing their hair. So what are your thoughts with men now using those enhancements? They're getting what they call the man weave. What are your thoughts on that, with using those enhancements on their hair?
So there's a collection of thoughts I want to share, but I want to preface it by saying that there's been some resources and some mentors. So I had to preface that so that when
no problem.
when I make my declarative statement,
Okay.
it won't be what is he talking about? So one of the hair mentors that I have is Barry Fletcher.
Yes.
And one of the things that he's always been a big proponent of is being mindful of what you're using on your hair and what you're using on your scalp that actually potentially causes some adverse effects to your hair, to your scalp over a period of time. So much so that he even wrote a book about it.
Yes.
You know?
Or black women losing. I think
Yes.
black women losing hair. I remember the book.
So keep that in the back of your mind.
Okay.
But then also, so therefore, I'm not for just everything being done, but I don't want to put it out there as if one way and that's it. I've seen where using additional enhancements and additional hair can become useful in certain spaces. So somewhere in the middle. I'm not against, but I'm not against, but I'm not a for all the time. There's reasons that I have for different things.
Understood.
So now we have to point to how things are being applied. The question of how things are being done, my fear is what's going to happen to individuals long term based off of they become dedicated and committed to this look. Because of the process that individuals are doing now, is a large portion of it is cutting a large portion of hair out, using different adhesives to actually apply units to the hair scalp. End results look beautiful.
Yes.
End results.
They really do.
Well, some.
Yes. Okay.
There's some very good individuals that are doing some really good jobs. You have Wade the barber. You have Erskine Reeds, gentleman from Atlanta named Samaj. I mean, they're breeding a bunch of individuals who are doing things in a great way and creating some great looks. But I recently attended a class where somebody was teaching some things and it did not look good.
Wow.
It did not look good. So
people, even if they want to maybe have these enhancements done, they need to do their research to make sure that the person that's doing the service is doing it correctly.
Definitely so. So that becomes one part that I consider. But then the other thing is I see the usefulness.
Mm-hmm.
I see the
it's a need for it. Many are wanting it. So
yes, I see the need. I see the usefulness of it. But I wouldn't necessarily believe that everybody needs to jump on it and everybody needs to run towards this as a way of life.
Right.
I think if it's pitched as an intermedium while something else is being done.
Okay, I can respect that.
Yeah, I think that one for me fits better. But somebody running to this being what they do and how they're going to choose to live the rest of their life, I don't know what potential results.
Might be the end, right.
I don't know. 10 years down the line, somebody says they end up developing some type of skin disorder.
Right, based off using that constant adhesive.
Yes, I don't know. So therefore, I'm on the fence. I've learned how to do certain things. I've even executed some things myself. I've done it primarily for creating characters. Right. I've done it primarily for individuals who wanted to do something temporarily, not necessarily for people who wanted to create a new way of life as this is what they're going to do every day. So from that standpoint, it's something I wanted to learn for the purpose of creating characters and to help out somebody in the interim dealing with some challenges and issues, such as individuals that may be dealing with some baldness from stress spots.
Right.
Not necessarily this is what you permanently look like, and that will create a permanent look for you.
Yeah, because even when we're scientists as stylists, and we have to know about the structure of the hair and the scalp, and even being stressed can cause alopecia to occur. It's something stressful happening in your life. So those dynamics have to be addressed in order to know how to service the client.
Yes.
Like you said, it's going to be a temporary
Definitely.
type of, or they're going to because what it is, honestly, some men do not want to lose their hair at 20,
No,
at 25, but finding out what's the internal forces causing loss,
Here's the
help
thing.
better
Through additional hair mentor, her name is Rita Perillo. The first person I've ever talked to in reference to adding hair to a man's head was her, and I've learned that there's healthy versions of adhesives that can be used, and additional ways that hair can be added that's safer
right.
than some of the ways that people are.
I've seen it
using
like
right
with
now.
natural hair fibers. I've seen it like some lines are called like fill-in, where they have fibers that adhere to what fibers you already have present on the head. So it doesn't affect the scalp as much because something more topical.
It's funny. I just started a relationship with a company called Exfusion, which is the parent brand for topics. And while doing some research on the product, because I had to do research on the product.
Right. We should though.
What I learned is where it derives from, because that matters. There are a lot of fibers that are being made from cottons. There are a lot of fibers that are being made from bird feathers. There's fibers being made from claws of birds. There's a lot of fibers that are made from many different things that people don't even know.
Right.
So that keratin from that growing hair source, the question is where does it come from? That's the first question. Second is what are you using to adhere it, if anything, because the higher quality versions have its own natural static charge. And then when it comes to proper use, are you using it to camouflage a bald spot, or are you using it to adhere to other fibers of hair to make them appear thicker? Because that's what it's designed for.
Right.
So sometimes we become individuals that use products outside of their manufacturing directions, and that happens a lot as well. But I've learned other ways. I'm not going to mention how.
Okay. You want
But I've learned
to share your secrets with us?
Can't say everything.
Who did the do? It's okay.
But, I've learned that there was other ways to adhere hair without actually using adhesives.
Okay.
And it becomes valuable.
So when is that class going to be available to us?
So because it's not my secret to share, it was somebody else's that to share with me. I'm not going to try to gain monetary gain from that.
Okay, we got it.
Just like this, Rita herself, if you research her, you can try to find her.
Okay, try to find it myself, all right.
She's the one that shared with me the imagery and how she did it. Birth of a Nation.
Okay.
She's the one that created the look for Idris Elba.
Okay.
His hair was not as long in real life, and she gave him a look that fit the character, and she added hair without using adhesives.
Interesting.
And she showed me how.
So we'll have to get up with you and make that interview happen with Rita so we get that information. Now, I want to give this show is to highlight you. So we want to have you talk a little bit about your product line. I know you have products. You have your clippers and you have a straight razor, am I correct? Would you like to talk about that? Because we want the followers to support your brand.
Curtis Smith told me that if you want to create a product, that you always look at something that's going to solve a problem. The first product that I came out with was the razor holders.
Okay.
Now, the razor holders became an idea because there was a razor out that I was using called the Feather DX. And that razor had a very decent handle as well as a very decent clamps. But that razor cost $300. Everybody wasn't able to afford that one. So my first goal was to create a fashionable but yet affordable razor holder. So my razor holders came within a price point of $40 to $50, giving that same look of something that cost $300. But I never wanted to produce anything that was of low quality. So I met the highest amount of quality that I can produce at the lowest price that I can end up selling people, and therefore I came out with the Kenny Duncan collection wooden razor holders.
Okay, wooden razor. What made you decide to go with wood?
Because of my love for that Feather DX, which was every other holder within this line was under $100, well, $100 and under. But because of it having a wooden handle and it's handcrafted, which drives the value up, they were selling that one for $300. So I found ways to make sure that I can give a happy medium, and I was already having I appreciate vintage things. I appreciate handmade things. So the products that I produce are a reflection of me. A reflection of me, and I believe they solve a problem. That problem of somebody wanting to have a heavier, sturdier razor holder without breaking the bank. That's the problem I solved.
Okay.
The second product I came out with was the Kenny Duncan collection of cutting combs. The problem that I found then was, as I evolved as a groomer, I started using attachment combs less and started using shear over comb and clipper over comb more. But what I found was that contrast in color clipper and cutting combs weren't made of high quality. So a lot of times the combs were very flimsy, they were made of plastic, you put them in barber size as you should.
Yes.
To sanitize them, they became soft, teeth ended up breaking off, and it became hard for me to continue on with buying the same cheap combs. The type of combs that I actually preferred were carbon fiber. But carbon fiber is black.
Right.
I wanted a white or ivory color comb, so I can actually have the ability to be able to see twice.
Yeah, the contrast.
I
The
want
darker
that
hair
contrast.
against the lighter comb.
Exactly. Majority of the clients I'm servicing have dark hair. I want a decent quality comb. Now, because I've had the challenge of finding those, therefore I became on the search of how can I create them. I ended up solving a problem. Individuals who cut hair like I do had the same issue of finding cheap white or ivory color combs. I solved the problem of finding a way to combine carbon fiber and rubber to produce.
Oh, carbon fiber and rubber.
Yep. Rubber is what allows me to get the color. The carbon fiber gives me the strength. It give me the ability to produce a series of different combs. The other thing was I wanted to make sure I had the comb line that had various spacings within the teeth.
Gotcha.
Because what I found as being a precision cutter is that the tension of the teeth that you cut with will have an impact on the quality of the hair that you produce.
Because especially working on texture hair is much more different than working on a finer grade. So that's very wise to have those finer teeth.
Definitely.
Because you can extend the hair greater for a more precise cut.
But there are times where I want to have loose texture.
Right.
For if I want to do any type of simulation of point cutting or blending, there are times I want the teeth of the comb to be spaced out.
Right.
And there are times I want it to be very tight. That's the reason why I have 9 different combs.
Right.
All of them are static resistant, they're heat resistant, chemical resistant, and they stand the test of time of sitting in your barber side.
Sounds good.
So
you tell the barbers they should,
yeah.
they have to follow manufacturer's directions. You're supposed to have them immersed for a long period of time. That could have, but either way, you solved the remedy.
We
So
solved
the problem that say.
Exactly.
Now,
in reference to cutting tools, I don't have the actual cutting tool itself. I work with the Enhancements company.
Okay.
I've helped the engineers develop some of the tools. We're working on some tools now that I can't say.
Okay. Little secret there.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So I will say that I have opportunity to meet additional need because what the Enhancements company will not do is ship any tool that's what's called zero gapped.
Right.
And they do that.
What does it mean, zero gap?
Zero gap means, first I need to understand there's 2 parts to a clipper when it comes to the blades. There's a lower blade and an upper blade. I call one the comb blade and the other the cutter blade. And what happens is when they are shipped to you, the cutter blade is actually slid further down below the comb blade so that when you as a consumer place it on the client's skin that you do not cut their skin. So what happens is most professionals, especially barbers who want that super sharp, precise look, they'll slide the cutter blade further up to become parallel with the comb blade to make sure that we're minimizing the spacing that the cutter blade will leave closest to the skin so that you can get that almost razor close cut look.
Right. Okay.
So because the Enhancements want to prevent themselves from being sued because of misappropriation and misuse of a zero gap tool, they say professionals are going to zero gap on themselves. There's a group of individuals that have challenges with properly zero gapping.
Okay.
So I've modified by making the comb blade thinner as well as zero gap a lot of the tools, and I sell those done already.
Okay.
So I'm selling a modified version of an Enhancements product to solve a problem that people have, because some people can't necessarily find the right setting. Some people have challenges of even duplicating the same exact setting every single time.
Okay.
So I spend time, and I've trained a few people to spend time to make sure that they can produce.
Yeah, Andy's was wise. Andy's was wise by keeping you for that. Remember, it's supposed to be 1 year. And by what you're seeing, you have again helped them create needs that you seeing a need, and you're helping them create it. And that's why they're very wise for them to keep you on their team. Now, okay, let's go into one part that I've seen. We're here at your salon. These trophies. And I'm assuming they're yours.
Some are, some not.
Some are,
I'm
some
gonna tell you
not.
what I'm a huge proponent
Okay.
of. I'm huge on supporting my staff.
Okay, great.
There's been many different years where I wouldn't. Many of the awards and the things that I've been a part of is not hanging up here.
Okay.
The main reason why is because when I come into this space here, I don't want to create this separation of me saying, hey, I'm the boss and you guys all work for me.
Right.
We're a team, and I like to highlight the team. I don't think it takes anything away from me to give credit to another man and to tell them that they're great and allow them to showcase their skills, their talents, and their rewards.
Okay.
So half of the trophies up there are mine, but half the trophies, no, there's only, I think 2 of them.
Okay.
I think 2 of them are mine, the remaining ones are from other staff members.
But going into winning the trophy, because that's when you had to take your time and your effort and do these competitions to win the trophies. How was it like going into those competitions? And what was the thing that, when you went into the competition, that you think the judges made you be the top choice or the winner of that competition?
Each competition has been different.
Okay.
The very first competition, I was super nervous.
Mm-hmm.
I had a goal, and the goal at that point in time was for me to see exactly where I ranked.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of people will have clients who tell them that they're the best.
Right.
But the client only had 3 barbers or 3 hairstyles in their whole life. So all you're really saying to me is that I'm the best of the options that you went to.
Right.
So I wanted to really see exactly where I measure up the very first time and compete in Atlanta
All right.
against other individuals. From
Was it at the Bonner Brothers Hair Show?
Exactly
All
where
right,
it was.
Bonner Brothers.
And I wanted to see exactly where I rank amongst my peers and then pursue opportunity to work with a company. And that's when they just said the winner of this competition will work with us for 1 year. And
That's how you did it.
Yep.
So what do you think was the one thing that set you apart? Was it, as we did the interview?
For that particular competition, I would tell you, because that competition is a total competition, I focused on making sure that the details of my haircut were done. I always tell people it's not about what you do in a competition, it's all about how clean you do it.
Right.
I made sure I had no loose hairs, my hairline was tight, groomed under the beard. I went to the T, worried about every little thing. I've even curated the look of the individual, so it was a full head to toe look that I've created for that gentleman. And one of the judges let me know at that point that I scored 177 points at that competition, which to date has been the highest score that I've heard. But I don't always brag about that, because one of the judges told me that one of the reasons why my score was so high was that there were a couple other individuals who were very close in score. That year, Tom McGill was in that competition that year.
Yes.
He won second that year. And when it came to the quality of the cuts that we produced, they let it be known that they had to be so anal, because they were so close on the quality of skill set that was produced, that they had to be anal about the total look as well. And because I was went as far to make sure that my client had a manicure and I didn't leave any hair behind his neck or behind his ear or around his ear, I focused on those little things.
All aspects.
Those things separated me from just focusing on the quality of the haircut.
One thing, Kenny, I really appreciate from this interview, that you're very analytical on every aspect of your field, where you make sure your I's are dotted, your T's are crossed. And that's one thing I really enjoyed with this interview with you, and because we need that more. We need to take our trade back. I say that a lot in several of the interviews I have done with many of the stylists, that's what's going to set us apart from the YouTubers, from the non-professionals, is our professionalism. You definitely have exemplified that and shared so many great stories with us here on this interview with Who Did the Do. So again, we want to know, how can we follow you? Can you give us your Instagram, your Facebook? Because that's the key thing, is to highlight you, and I want to do that here on the show. So please share with us your Instagram, your Facebook, and anything that you're doing in the near future, so we can definitely support it, as our viewers can definitely support it.
Currently, on all social media platforms, you can find me under ClipperEDU. But it will be changing soon. Not sure just yet what it will be, but I will be changing that soon because of the evolution of Kenny Duncan. But one thing that will stay constant is that you can find all my information on kennyduncan.com. We have an online store where you can purchase the razors, the combs, the modified blades, and you can stay up to date with some of the latest blogs I've written, and some of the insights and business insights that I want to give to the public about how they can become a better business professional.
And again, thank you, Kenny, for being on Who Did the Do. We love you. And we will definitely hope our viewers will follow you, and we'll continue to follow you and see what's going on with you. And thank you again. And thank you guys for watching Who Did the Do.